Yeah. Starmer's also going to hand powers to unions, workers, and tenants in the King's Speech. So if
Tip your landlords, definitely. And obviously, you big union man, aren't you? Obviously.
Yes.
I recently saw this argument from the libertarian side of unions are really good because they are literally workers controlling their labour, which is, I never thought of it that way. I always think it's lefty commie nonsense, whatever. Like,
No,
yeah, are very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that they aren't necessarily detrimental to an economy. I mean, look at a country like Germany, heavily unionized, and they're the fourth largest economy. Yeah.
And also, I do want to preface again. I always say things like, so if the state gets too big, that's an issue. If companies get too big, that's an issue. If unions get too big, it's an issue. Obviously, in America at the moment, there's big problems with their police union. It's so fucking huge. It's impossible to deal with them.
Yeah.
It's impossible to deal with them. They're so big.
Right. Okay. Well, I definitely agree with you there. There should be a balance of power. 100%.
Yeah, that is politics. What I want basically is who gets what.
Yeah.
You are 100%. An enterprising fellow in the United Kingdom, well, your life is going to be made a lot more difficult. And this is the particular one as one of those enterprising fellows, the sort of person who starts a small business, starts employing people. Oh yeah, he's also going to keep the ban on cigarette sales, which is like, okay, cringe. Sorry, I'm trying to get through this as much as possible. My laser are going to ruin everything. The VAT on private schools.
Well, okay, so they're blowing through quite a few things there. So
yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about rebalancing powers. I think anyone who rents would agree that landlords have too much power. Any landlord would say the tenants have too much power. So it's very interesting, but definitely there needs to be some sort of rebalance. Work, I think lots of people feel like they're taking advantage of too much work.
Yes.
And yeah.
Obviously, since I freelance and it's fucking hard anyway to freelance anyway, if I would, because the thing is, the reason why I haven't joined any agencies and stuff where I can get more gigs is because they take a ridiculous 20-30%.
Yeah, exactly. And you see almost something like a union on YouTube. It won't be possible because of the size of YouTube and stuff. So something like that would, in your current situation, would be helping you out massively if you had some sort of unionized system.
Like my recent issue with I've gotten that copyright strike, which has killed my channel. Like it's gone down. It's gone down 1,000% in my stuff. If I had more collective bargaining, if I could bring this up to someone. Yeah. Because I have emailed this company directly, stuff like that, and they have literally aired me. I was saying, here's what I did. Here's why it's fair use. Here's why this is all fine. Because I could counterclaim it on YouTube. I have to enter my full legal name, and anything after that point could then be used on me a court of law immediately.
I mean, exactly. And I mean, imagine if you had something like a group of creators then that brought in collectively millions of ad views, right? And they all went, well, we're not going to post a single video until he's like copyright striked. Like how much bargaining power that would give you? That'd be great.
Honestly, I don't think it would be that much. Because YouTube is, you got to think how big Google is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm not getting this joke quite right, but yeah.
Step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah.
We should go on to the VAT.
Yes. Yeah. Let's.
This is atrocious because they all seem to think. So what they're going to do is make sure that private schools now have to pay VAT. Now, the reason that you don't have private schools paying VAT is to make it affordable for the aspiring middle class to give their children an excellent education. An education that is better than what a state school can provide. And this is an example of just one of the opinions you get. Well, I've got no sympathy. I can't believe all these rich people. It's like, no, you're mistaking that not all private schools are Eton.
If there is all rich people, they wouldn't give a shit about a 20% increase because they can afford it anyway. And any increase affects those who could just about afford it.
And it definitely does. I think I certainly wouldn't deny that it does disproportionately affect people that can't afford it. I think one thing that I will say is it's important to note that prices rise consistently each year of private schools.
Yes.
Each year, private schools become less and less affordable for the aspiring middle class, as this guy was saying.
That is,
and more only for the rich upper class. So this is already becoming an issue, and if we made our state schools better, we wouldn't need private schools.
Make state schools better, it's going to be much harder. And then what you're doing now is like state schools are shit. You can tell that because the market is saying it's shit because there's so many people going there and trying to go there. And you go, we're going to disincentivize them from going, sticking the state schools with our shit, 20% will go into the state schools. Either going to fix it. I very much doubt a 20% going back to schools.
Yeah, that money isn't. But I mean, this is already like they're framing this argument as if there's a high number of people in private schools. 2% of school children are privately educated, and Grammarly and in grammar schools. 98% are in public schools. That's slightly affecting the 2% by asking them to pay a bit more to benefit the 98%.
20% tax.
Yeah, 20% tax. Yeah, but this also isn't introducing a new tax. This is removing an exemption they have. Most products you buy, most things you do, have a 20% VAT tax.
Yes.
Meals you eat out, takeaways, anything you buy, 20% VAT. Private schools are exempt from it.
The reason
now that's the bit that
encourage people to go there, which I think is a good idea. If you try to encourage people to have better education,
why?
It's a great idea.
It's better education for the rich, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you're super rich, you'll be able to pay any number of money for it. And this is like, we're talking like high-end middle class who's like, they're going to sacrifice quite a bit of money in to then afford. Because what I'm basing off university, I'm paying like $9,000 a year. I assume it'll probably be about the same amount of money per year for that as well. $9,000 a year.
More than that, definitely more.
It costs more.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to set to that point because I still think I think that this should stay. I think we shouldn't have to we want to try and encourage people to have the best education as they can afford. That's what I would think.
I can see your arguments.
I think from this definitely though.
Yeah, I can see your arguments, but I do think there's an inherent level of unfairness though that comes with it.
I just think this is going to make a bigger bigger gap between the rich and the not rich. Of like they can afford this now, and people who were just able to afford it.
I think potentially. I think what I'm interested in most actually is the leap and board opportunities from this. So we're now no longer viewing this as a charity that is here to help, your average person, and we're viewing it as business. There's so many opportunities here.
I can see that.
I can fully see your point. Actually, I will concede on that. But, yeah.
All right,
actually, right. The only people this doesn't affect are, in fact, the super rich, because when you're a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, you can afford to pay the VAT rise.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point you were making, right? And that is a good point. The uber wealthy aren't affected by this.
Yes, that's the issue with any sort of tax rise. It never affects the uber wealthy. They don't give a shit, really.
Yeah.
To say someone like myself, who isn't even earning 6 figures a year or 7 figures a year. No, I'm not even earning 6 figures a year, right? But I send my children to a private school. You're affecting me. You're affecting my kids and their education. It's not like my kids come from a billionaire background.
Classic leftist policy, the politics of resentment.
100%.
That you're a kulak.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got a little bit of money, so you're the enemy now. You're the class enemy now.
100%. That's exactly what this is. And of course,
I would say it's definitely exactly what it is, but I do see that sometimes happening in leftist circles where it's like if you've got it's like crabs in a bucket. We're always trying to bring each other down. I don't think it's not healthy. We need to raise everyone up as much as we can instead of bringing people down.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely think far left wing circles. Yeah, 100%. I don't think that's what this idea necessarily is.
Kiss is not far left. We've got to definitely remember this.
Yeah, exactly.
Is quite centre.
No, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Lots of private schools pointing out, this is a race to the bottom. What are you talking about? We're not all Eton. We're not the billionaire. Princes don't send their sons to some Yorkshire private school that costs 10 grand a year. 10 grand a year, that's a lot of money. But if you're earning 50 grand a year, you'd be like, okay, we'll go without, I won't buy a car or something. I'll send my kid to a private school. That's me being upwardly mobile and building generational wealth. And the Labour Party are like, oh, smash that down. You're not having that. And so I'm really resentful about this.
Again, if possible, if we were able to have state schools be on the same level of goodness as a private school would be, then I'll be completely okay with this sort of stuff. But the issue,
but even what he's saying, that 50 grand a year is above the average wage. That makes you some of the privileged few already.
Yes, he wants to try and make it stay that way, is what he's trying to say. Which it's not an ignoble thing. It's not him being greedy. It's like he's lucky enough to. I could tell it. I think he built this business himself. He's like, I want my kids to be able to do the same thing.
I can get the drive for wanting to send your kid there for personal reasons, but I think the argument that private schools promote social mobility is flawed. Definitely.
Economic mobility, maybe. Social mobility, I'm not too sure on that one.
No, I disagree with both, probably.
Okay.
I really hate this policy. But on the plus side, there are going to be billions more to Ukraine. Billions. It's the centre of Starmer's government.
Building houses for Somalis and Afghans.
So that's what the VAT rise is for, presumably.
No, the VAT rise for the school is, for the schools in particular, is to make sure that they can hire 6,500 new teachers for the foreign children who will be educated in British.
Apologies. This is a bit painful to watch. What? Well, it's for foreign children. Our schools don't have good enough teachers.
Yeah, I went. The school I went to.
Were you taught? You went like a school, right? You went to a public school, right? For
Schools
secondary. Yeah. Did you like I did, right? Have it where you were taught a subject by a teacher that wasn't their subject. So I was taught history by my PE teacher.
Countless times.
You know,
we had a Spanish teacher teach German.
Yeah, exactly. And that's specifically, Keir Starmer specifically laid out that is why he wants to hire 6,500 new teachers, not because immigrant children need teachers.
Yeah. I was like,
which I mean, they do if they're part of our country.
Very few foreigners. Like, I live in a place down where I live. Normally, it's got very, very few foreigners, and yet we're still struggling. So it's clearly not. Oh, this foreigners' fault.
Absolutely.
Schools. That's why. That's literally the reason.
It's not.
We're building foreign people houses.
It's not.
Their children, and I'm going to be paying for it. Wonderful. No, this is just more money for the war in Ukraine.
Because so this will probably be like debt backed
100%.
money printing. Great.
100%. Anyway.
Are they disagreeing here with sending money to Ukraine?
I think how much we're sending. I would assume it's.
Go
on, you go.
No. After you.
I assume from what I've heard from already, assume it's probably going to be along the lines of it's far away, therefore it doesn't affect us. That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
Again, this is no fact on this. This is what I'm assuming they think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, my stance on Ukraine is like we need to defend Europe from Russian aggression.
Even
you know.
I think even thinking on economic terms of I think like 2% of the global calories is Ukraine alone. We need to make sure that they are a friendly and not a hostile nation to us, because 2% of the entire world's calories.
Yeah,
that is so
we can't have that in Russian hands with the way they're acting at the moment, the sentiments they're using. We need to make sure this doesn't continue. I mean, we had Crimea in 2014. Now we've had Ukraine. I mean, if they take Ukraine, what's next? Like they go for Poland or something,
The biggest mistake.
Someone needs to stop them eventually.
Biggest mistake with World War II is you stopped when Hitler died. We should have continued Russia as well.
I would disagree with that. I would say the biggest mistake with World War II was how much we let Hitler take before we intervened.
Definitely true.
We let him become so powerful before we started to do anything, and we can't have that same mistake with Russia.
I can see that point.
Not saying that they are Nazi Germany.
No, very, very different.
Yeah,
very different. The still thing of they are accumulating more and more power. We've got to sort of like nip it in the bud.
And aggression has to be met with aggression. Bullies, and they.
Economic sanctions didn't do shit.
No.
Well, they did do stuff.
Not enough.
Not enough.
We need to do more.